Right, I'm ready.
Just let me know when it shows up.
Right, I'm ready. You're there.
Okay, great. Awesome. Excellent, excellent. We do one more thing. Safari can't find it. Oh, I did it twice. Perfect. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thursday night, Shredders Unite business call. Hey, Don and Kathleen, Beatrice, thank you for joining me. Mimi, as always. Super excited. It's obviously we're in the midst of summer. It's almost 90 degrees here in Chicago, and I'm enjoying the heat. Unlike you veterans down there, you're probably tired of it already, right? But it's been rather cool in Chicago up until like last week. That said, tonight is going to be a fun, lively call. And this is my suggestion. I was thinking about this. I had to take a shower to cool off. So I just took a shower. In the shower, I had a great idea. And my idea was simply, we do provide a lot of golden nuggets throughout these calls. And basically, it could be Tuesday night, Wednesday night, our Thursday night call. Sometimes I have a moment. But what I would suggest is this. For a business basics call, grab a paper and pencil if you have it ready, because you're going to want to take notes, hopefully. And the reason for that is many of us, we learn differently. But what I can tell you, and this is a golden nugget, if you are into goal setting, manifestation, this is key. And that is, we learn by hearing, seeing, or by feeling. That's pretty much it. So if I'm telling you, you're going to probably absorb maybe 20% of it. If you take the notes down and I'm telling you, you're probably going to retain closer to maybe 70, 80, 90%, right? But if you can emote that with a feeling or a situation, like for memorization purposes, they say, think of a situation or a feeling with that particular event, it's almost 100% that you will remember it. So if my wife is dealing with a very bad back, if she happens to jump on here, I'll pick on her. But if not, if she's not open for it, not ready, I'm not going to ask her to do that. But again, grab a paper, pencil, write things down. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the examples I give you, hopefully I'm always going to be honest with you. When I give people examples, I'm going to basically pull from my life experience. I was a financial money manager for many years, 25 years, big firms on Wall Street. I would do this with my clients back in the 80s. Everything I did was almost over the phone, but it didn't matter if it was a CEO, multimillionaire, they're all very wealthy people. But I'd always say, Mimi, grab a paper and pencil. I want you to write this down. And then I would go into the presentation and they would write down the things that they felt they needed so they could see it, understand the presentation. And obviously I was leading them to, is this something that you feel is appropriate for your investment portfolio? Yes, no, whatever, right? So that's the process. So what I would like to get started with is Sean did an amazing, our leader, Sean Escobar. If you didn't catch it in the air shred, he made a challenge to the entire group. And I thought it's a pretty brilliant idea. And that is, we understand it's summer. And we also know that during summer months, people kind of tune out, they get busy, the kids are outside playing, the sunlight's later in the day, and so on. It's harder to show up for these type of meetings. And we totally get that. But we also understand that one of the best elements of our community are the people. And it's for those individuals like Mimi, who was our first heart, for those individuals that light up, come alive, and share their story, we consider them heroes on our ER Shred page. And I can't emphasize enough how important that is. And for all of you who have ever shared on ER Shred, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I will be very honest with you. I connect with people. I share my story. They sometimes may or may not relate, but I'll be honest, as good as I think as I am in my own mind, it is probably 80% of the time, maybe 90% of the time, when they say yes, it isn't because of my story. It's because of something else that they saw. It was another person's story, in the ER Shred community. It was the energy. Can you hear me okay, Mimi? Okay. That's okay. So no, I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not. So bottom line is this, is that when I think about what the value of ER Shred is that first of all, we wanted to create a safe environment for people to feel supported, as well as to be able to get the information out necessary so that we can get people their very best results, within the best of our ability. ER Shred is now 25,000 people. So the larger we grow, it becomes a little bit more cumbersome to manage only if we stray from our messaging. So we're very tight on our messaging. We're focusing on ER Shred only in this community. That's our elimination reset protocol. Congratulations to all the new shredders who are on day 11. This is the last day of the program. You're on your second day. The most important day, in that this is when autophagy happens. This is when the great stuff happens. To quote Tony Escobar, who's healing from his knee replacement surgery. I hope I'm not being bad for pointing that out, but that's a pretty cool thing. He had surgery 2 days ago. He is recovering. He literally said back in 2002, 80% of the benefit occurs on the second day of the cleanse, which is so key. So for those of you pushing through, having a great result, today is so important. It sets you up for super success going into tomorrow when you start with your shake again and have your steaks. And of course, on that final day on the 12th day, we want you to kind of sit back, reflect, and start to decide what is it that you're looking to achieve and what are your goals. And maybe you may start to add back some foods. Maybe you'll continue on with a strict protocol, as I did for a second session, only to make sure that I was really at a solid baseline before I started experimenting and adding in some vegetables and fruits and see how I felt. But go slow. That would be my best recommendation. Our story, the story that you have on this 12 days, is the single most important thing in addition to your journey. My journey has continued. Do I feel better 22 months in, better than I did when we first started? Absolutely. Do I feel better than I did 6 months ago or a year ago? It gets better and better. And a lot of the benefits start to show up in beyond weight loss. And and for those that have been in here for a while, they understand it. Obviously, more energy, better sleep, better performance in terms of your athleticism. Maybe it's working out, maybe it's your strength. But the part that we really like, us older people, is brain fog goes away. My clarity is in terms of my mental acuity. I'm sharper. I feel like I took a smart pill. And the beautiful thing about this is that as I see how I change as a person, I'm noticing emotionally, I'm more grounded. I'm more centered. I'm a nicer person. I'm a kinder person. I'm a better husband to my wife. I'm a better father to my stepchildren. I think I've been a great father for my daughter. She may not agree with me, but the same thing. I feel happier. And when you're happier, when you're energized, when you have better sleep, it's pretty much common sense that you're going to show up and you're going to be a better person. You're fully performing at your optimal, you're at optimal health. So our story, I'm going to share my screen here. What I wanted to say to you all tonight is, you've heard this over and over again. You have your story. I can't take it away. Hey, Sarah, I can't take it away from Sarah. I can't take it away from Don, Mimi, Beatrice. You own that story. And why do we want you to emphasize your story in the beginning? Is that you're rock solid. You will not get tripped up. You own it. You also will have an emotional attachment to that story. So the tendency is that you are going to be more excited. You might be more vulnerable like me. So when my wife, who's coming on, pushed me to go outside and do a Facebook Live, I did it in my safety group, Mindful Health Lounge. That's our team group, just like an ER Shred, right? But she said, that's great. Awesome. Go back outside, do it again. But you put this on your main page. I was terrified. So like Sean said today, many of us who seem to be on a lot, we've become accustomed to hopefully doing lives. And the more you do, hopefully the better you get. I can honestly say Mimi is an all-star in terms of what she does to bring in interest. She entertains, but she always typically ends it with a good message, which is, I think, perfect. That's the perfect scenario. I want people to really get comfortable telling their story. Do you tell all aspects of the story? You don't have to. The most important part is as you're talking to your audience, and typically it might be Facebook Live. If you do a Facebook Live, that is fantastic. The good news is that if you're like me, you feel more vulnerable. And I actually got emotional because I got tripped up. I couldn't explain how good I was feeling. And at the end, I was trying to explain, bringing my wife, Allison, you got to tell him, you got to tell him. And it really, I got choked up. The cool thing about that story is that Don Drury, my fraternity brother, was watching that particular episode, my first Facebook Live, and he goes, "What the heck's going on?" And he's like, "Wow, okay, I got to check this thing out." So he joined our community. My guess is that he's known me for years. He's been in Isogenics. Can almost guarantee you it wasn't my story that got him to do it, but it got his interest, and he went into the group. Then he saw the videos with Sean. He saw Jesse. He saw basically all the other testimonials. This is our greatest asset. For those on Shredders Unite, you're interested in sharing, paying it forward. Our greatest asset for those on Facebook will be that Shred community. So you want to invite people as quickly as possible. Sean wanted us to challenge everybody and do a Facebook Live in the group. This is our safety place. No need to be nervous. We're all friends. We're all caring. This is your safe place, but it's also great practice for you to get ready to maybe go off and do this on your personal page if you so choose. That said, there are components to the story that I just wanted to kind of go over. And for those that are brand new, you may not be aware of this, but we have a site. We're going to still work on it, but it does cover a lot of the basics, and it's just ershred.biz. So I don't want to bore you, but I do want to share my screen. So let me share my screen. Oh, I already got it there. See if I can do this. Share. Bingo. Okay, I don't need that page. Allison, can you unmute for a second?
What do you need, honey?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I see you Googling ear shred.
Okay. I mean, am I even able to pull it up like that though? There, it did. It pulled up. Fantastic. Okay, guys, this is ershred.biz.
Can you make it bigger or no?
Of course I can. Oh, I don't. There we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
ershred.biz. Did this basically, I think this is February of 2021. We got this thing launched. My intent was literally to kind of position ershred similar to how Apple Computer did this. Back for us older folks back in the 80s, Apple Computer came onto the stage. They made a big splash, and they had a campaign saying, "We're the crazy ones, we're unique, we're different." And they celebrated that. They didn't come out and say we're the best, the fastest, the strongest. We're unique, we're different, we're the crazy ones. So I started it out with basically a conversation. I say, "Hi, everyone." We have a video at the end, the Apple. Then here's Tara literally saying, "Share the shred." How do you share the shred? This video will literally take you through, sharing your story, which again, you want to go through this carefully on your own time. How shredders share. We've got Sean and Crystal talking about on their why. If you come down a little bit lower, you'll see sharing the shred template, shredders share. These are other people's stories that you can tap into. How to shred for free. The reason why I'm showing you this is this template is basically an outline of what you can follow when constructing your share for like a live video. Where were you before the shred? First of all, you want to introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Bob Sivrite. For those that do not know, I've been in the nutritional industry for over 18 years. And recently I discovered something called the ear shred, something like that, right? Introduce yourself. Prior to the ear shred, I had tried everything. I had amazing success with a traditional program, but like many of us, you always want better. For my story, what happened is I saw a lot of IsoBody Challenge finalists do this macro program being taught by a trainer. And I thought, hey, if it worked for Michael Lieberman, maybe it will work for me. Well, if you've seen my before ER shred picture, I bloomed up to about 230, 235, did not look too healthy at that moment. All that said is that that program did not work for me. So I went back to our traditional system. I got myself back down to 215 when finally Sean convinced me, hey, you got to try this. Let's do the ER shred. All credit to my wife, because it wasn't Sean that got me to do it. Allison said, I know you want to do this. Let's do it. We're starting tomorrow. That is the fact. And I went, really? You'll do this with me? Jumped right in with our ribeyes, and the rest is history. My story, I went from 215 to 195 pretty much in the first 2.5 weeks. I would say by day 12, 13, 14, 15, and I continued. By the end of the second shred, I was down to 185. I'm 188 now, but what happened? My energy went through the roof. I got shot out of a cannon. I felt so good. I literally couldn't sit still. And I'm back to what did I do? Oh, I got to move, got to work out. I got to get active. As I've done that, I've gotten myself in better shape. And I can honestly say at 60, I'm in the best health of my life, not only in terms of how I look. First of all, did get accused at my wife's physical therapy place. Veronica, who hasn't seen me since COVID, saw me today. Now she sees me on Facebook Lives, but she saw me today and she thought, holy cow, what happened? You look like a teenager. How's that possible? And I went, ER shred, right? Cool thing is this changed my life. So that's kind of my story. That would be more than enough. If I'm talking to an individual, I'm going to literally ask about them, not about me. It's all about them. How are you feeling? What's happening in your world? Ultimately, you're going to hear cues like, man, I'm tired. Oh, I can't get into my clothes. I've got a wedding coming up, whatever it might be. Your goal isn't to tell them everything, but you want to focus in on the key aspects of what they care about. Oh my God, I was just like you. I was so bloated and my clothes weren't fitting and I couldn't get into my jeans anymore. And, I found this program. It was so easy to follow. But the craziest thing is that by the end of the 11 days, I got into my jeans again. I could button them and the bloat went away and my energy went up. I don't know if this will be for you, but if you're interested, I'd be happy to share it with you. Kind of a nonchalant conversation, may or may not be for you, but if you're interested, happy to introduce you. My personal next step is I literally say, oh, by the way, are you on Facebook still? I am. Oh, fantastic. Talk about your ER shred community, 25,000 people. It's private. Love to introduce you to the group. That way, if you take a look, you can kind of kick the tires and just call me back when you're ready or if you want to learn more. If you get them in our ER shred community, my guess is that there's probably a 99% chance that at some point in time, they will say yes. Remember, if they don't do it on your time schedule, don't get angry, don't get defeated, don't get mopey or dejected. Many of you that I know on this call tonight did not start it right away as soon as they opened up the Facebook page and kind of kicked the tires and looked. Some of you waited 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and that's okay. That's the beautiful thing. People who want to go on this journey will have success when they are mentally prepared and they're ready. It's all about mindset. It does you no good to push somebody out of their comfort zone to do something that they're not ready for. Chances are, if they're not mentally prepared, low chance of success. And I know Jesse talks about that kind of stuff. If I go back to, so that was our share of the shred. And it basically, you've got the 4 components of your story. It doesn't have to be perfect. Do come down here and take a look. Sean talked a little bit about being compliant. And I did a call, I jumped on real quick, and I just wanted to talk about this. We're going to have amazing results. We know that. We also know that our doctors are going to be floored in terms of what's happening in many cases. Many of us may or may not have some issues that we're contending with, as well as having, maybe we're on medications. We have disclaimers on tonight's call. We don't treat, cure, or prevent disease. That's a bottom line. Stated fact, you should put that on any disclaimer that you put out there. You want to protect yourself. The other thing is that even if it did happen to you, that's amazing, but that's not necessarily the reason why people have to join it. You don't have to over sensationalize it or tell them, oh my God, there was a guy who lost literally 30 pounds in 15 days or 11 days on the ear shred. Tom, you know who you are. You did it. Absolutely amazing, right? But is that a typical result? No. My goal in what I've always been taught, and this is also something as a stockbroker. If I told you that I think you're going to invest in the stock and you're going to make 25%, your expectation is 25%. Well, if I hit 20%, still a darn good investment, but you're disappointed. I didn't meet expectations. If I told you you're going to invest in the stock and you're going to make 15 to 20%, I believe over this period of time, you're going to say, okay, that sounds good. But in my heart, I know it's going to be 25% or more. That's icing on the cake. So when I underpromise, I will always overperform. So what I mean by that is just don't overstate the results. And you don't have to tell people the outlandish, crazy results, because then it's not even relatable to people. So again, just be really clean, be clear, be compliant. If you are, let's say, your doctor was able to manage you off your medications, you could say that, hey, this program brought nutritional balance into my life. I feel fantastic. And as a result of that healing process, when I went to my doctor and got my blood test, he literally changed some of my medications, or I was able to ease off some of them, not making a claim, not talking about a disease, not talking about an issue you're treated for. You're diabetic. If you lost a lot of weight, anybody will tell you that's a dietitian or a diabetic coach or a doctor. For most people, if you're type 2, you lose weight, that's going to help with balancing your sugar levels, right? Just tell people, you know what, I had sugar management issues. This lifestyle's allowed me to bring my sugar levels into balance or manage them better. That's all you got to say. Besides the fact, more energy, lost weight, better sleep. I mean, those are the things, and how you show up with passion, certainty, confidence, excited because of your experience. That is more important than anything else. Before I jump to the next area, I wanted to quickly talk to my wife. If you don't mind, Allison, I would love for you, from a standpoint of talking about language, and I was touching on when I first came on, is that people learn by hearing, seeing, or feeling emotion. And how does that work in communication? And why is that important, that when we make that connection, how do you teach your people that concept?
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's 80% of communication is nonverbal. So it's not so much the actual words that we're using, although, some words are very, very powerful, right? Empowerment, like that's a powerful word, right? Feeling empowered is an example. But it's powerful because it carries an energy that creates a feeling inside, right? And so we want our marketing, we want our social media, we want really everything that we're putting out there to create a feeling, right? Because when we can trigger a feeling or an emotion inside for somebody, that is when they're going to be, most likely to feel more connected to you, to trust you, and then to take action. We know based on human behavior that before somebody takes action on something, they have to first feel something. And so, the feeling that they get may be anger. Who knows? Oh, I can't take this anymore. I'm done. I'm rock bottom, right? And then it flips them into making a decision about something, right? It could be motivation, it could be inspiration, it could be hope, even, right? But they need to feel something before they take that next step with you, whether it's just to inquire about something. Maybe it's they've been kind of poking around, maybe they've been silently watching, right? And then something happens, you tell a story, or you create a piece of content, or you do a Facebook Live that hits home for them somewhere. So we have to really think about what is the feeling that we want to elicit when people come to our Facebook page. When you and I always tell people to just kind of do a quick audit of their own social media. Like, what is your cover photo? What is your profile photo? The little description that says who you are, what you do. Like, what is that, right? That's really important real estate that you can use to let people know what it is that you do. But what colors do you use? What stories do you tell? Like, what feeling does somebody get when they're in your world, right? Because that's really the first step, is for people to feel a connection to you as a person before they're even going to be open to hearing anything about what it is that you're doing. And so, what I do a lot with people is just try to help people to understand that there is an energy behind whatever it is that you're doing, an intention behind the actions that you're taking, right? There's a difference. If you guys, if you ever hear, well, Sean talk, obviously, you, Bob, if you guys have ever heard Colin Greenlaw talk, or his dad, Peter, there is a certainty and a conviction and a confidence behind the words that he is sharing. So it's not just about what they're saying, it's how they're saying it. It makes you really feel like, oh my God, like, he's fired up. Or Tony Trowbridge, we could go on and on, all the different people. But if you really think about it, it's how do you feel when they're talking? Jesse, right? Jesse gets really animated. He's really certain about what it is that he's saying. Well, you're tapping into the energy around and behind the words and the action. So, when you talk about being magnetic to people, or attracting people into your world, it really is about being on that same frequency. And that just goes back to the intention behind your words. And again, I keep going back to certainty and posture, because for whatever reason, I'm kind of feeling called
So
to really help people with that. Your belief. If there are areas that you feel like you're lacking around your belief in yourself, in your product, in our industry, in your ability to inspire, to make money, to support somebody, those are the sneaky areas that you're going to want to work on. Because the more you can raise your belief in all of those categories, the more postured you're going to be able to be and certain around what it is that you're doing when you go to share. And people feel that. People want to feel that certainty because they feel safe knowing that you know what you're doing, that you feel confident. Does that make sense?
absolutely. So a couple highlight things. I understand we're giving you a lot, but the idea is hopefully you're going to pick up little pieces, and by repetition, and we'll say a lot of the same things over and over again. The idea eventually is that you go, oh, okay. The best way to learn is by doing. It doesn't matter what the teacher says, a lecturer. If you can get yourself in a situation where you're actually doing the skill, you're having a life experience and you will learn that way. I mean, it's the single best way. I just wanted to highlight a couple things. The old saying, it's not how you say it, it's how you say it. Like Allison
It's not what
pointed
you. It's not what you say. It's how
It's not
you
what
say
you
it.
say, it's how you say it. Right. Not what you say, it's how you say it. So you can't say the wrong thing. So don't get tripped up and think that it has to be perfect. It never is. I know that I forced myself, and it used to drive my wife nuts, but we would do coaching calls and I would have maybe an outline and I'd write down 3 or 4 things on my piece of paper. And she, on the other hand, would be able to speak contemporaneously from the heart, but she would write out the entire presentation because she didn't want to miss a word. And she didn't necessarily read it, but that was her processing in terms of how she would prepare. And then she would say, how do you do that? And I said, for me, the way my brain works is that if I have to read a script, or if I am actually following an actual step-by-step process, I'll sound like a robot. I will sound like a moron. In my view, I won't connect. So I literally just do it right from my heart, get an idea, concept, jump on and start talking. Do not pre-plan it. Honestly, I'm sure some of my Facebook lives are so terrible that people are going, what the heck? Why did he even get on? But often what ends up happening is, like Sean, you catch yourself in a vulnerable moment because you say something that is an emotional response to you, but then you realize you're talking to the world out on Facebook, and you might get choked up. So when I hear people that say, what moved you to do this? I would say more often than not, it's a video where someone was emotional, where they got vulnerable, and because of that, people were able to relate to them better. They looked, wow, I can connect with that person's emotion. I feel you. And Sean, the same way. His initial videos talking about how good he felt, he would cry a lot in them. I'm like, what the heck did this thing do to Sean, right? But no, in all honesty, it was those authentic, heartfelt shares where he got emotional that drew me in, because I'm like, wow, if it did it for him, what's it going to do for me? So again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Don't get
Well,
tripped.
yeah,
I
I think we talked about this last week too, or 2 weeks ago. And that, and it just ties back into what we were saying, which is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Getting back to Steve Jobs and Apple, right? Um, People would have bought just about anything from Sean at that point. It didn't matter that it was shred. It didn't matter what the logistics or the details, or you eat this many, meals of meat. Like, it didn't, that wasn't relevant, right? What was relevant is that he touched on a nerve for people and connected with people about the pain that they were in, and he painted a vision of what was possible on the other side of this thing that he was doing. The thing that he was doing isn't what inspired, and that is what most people are missing in marketing. Is that we're focusing too much on what the vehicle is, what the thing is, and not enough on the transformation that it gives you, right? Like, it could literally be anything. And that's why there's people out there who are successful entrepreneurs, successful in network marketing, who quite frankly are selling products that are not great, right? They're loaded with chemicals, or they have, they're not as good. We're a little biased, obviously, about our products, but there are people out there who are making a killing and doing a great job, building successful businesses with products that are subpar. And it is because they have belief and certainty around what it is that they're selling, and they are sharing the why. And so people don't care what it is that they're selling. They connect with the why, and then they'll say, okay, give me whatever it is. Is it oils? Is it this? Is it that? It doesn't matter. Fill in the blank. That's not why people buy. So when you're building your business, you have to really keep that perspective and understand that this is a relationship business, and this is about connecting with people on a deeper level about what it is that they actually want, and giving them that hope that what they want is possible. I don't know what you're doing, honey, but I'm watching you.
I'm back here. So
All okay.
I just wanted to come back here real quick. How shredders share why, and there's a video here. It also will lead you to Simon Sinek's golden circle. That's what Allison was starting to talk about. This is super simple, but it's very complex in that if you dissect it and really understand how you present, how Apple did it, it's backwards from feature benefit, buy. It's basically backwards. It's what we do, why we do it, and then, what we do, how we do it, and why we do it at the end. The actual thing is we do it, why we do it. The center part's why. The book, I do believe, I'm certain I said it that right.
It's always hard, but the outer rim, the what, so the shakes, the meat, the vehicle of what they're actually getting in their box, That does not inspire. What
Right.
inspires is why somebody would even want to consume that. What is the transformation? Where are they right now in their life, in the pain, where they are struggling, and what is possible for them if they consume that thing? If you make your marketing focused on connecting, on painting that vision, on telling stories that inspire about other people who were in that situation, that is going to connect with your audience, and your audience is going to be more open to them saying, sure, I'll try this thing, right? And it doesn't matter what the vehicle is when it comes to marketing and create and a buying decision. Now, what does matter is the uniqueness principle, the uniqueness factor, because that's what's going to allow you to stand out from the crowd of all the other people who are sharing their thing, right? So you do need to talk about, what it is that people are doing now and why it's not working, and how you've discovered this other thing and why, right? Because that is going to help you to stand apart. People are going to say, oh, I haven't done anything like that
So
before. That's new.
let's talk about that. We're going to go fast, but I do want to touch on a couple different things. Then we're going to come back and focus on things. A book, one of the best books, Simon Sinek, Start With Your Why. This is a terrific book for anything you do in life, not only from a personal aspect, but also from a business standpoint. How great leaders inspire everyone to take action. I would start with this book. I highlight Simon Sinek a lot. The why, how, what, Simon Sinek's Golden Circle explained. If I played this, unfortunately, the way Zoom works, I haven't figured out how for you to hear it. I mean, you'd see the video, but you couldn't hear it. So please spend the time and take a look at that. The other thing that Allison just brought up, what I want to touch on real quick, is the uniqueness principle. I call it the uniqueness principle because that's how it was explained to me in 1987. It was Arthur Pankow, if he's still alive. He was a Northwestern professor, and a mathematics professor at Northwestern, who became one of the top money managers at Bear Stearns in Chicago. His field of focus was in the financial industry. I don't think you guys can hear it. Oh, that's Tony in the box. I'm sorry. That's not playing. The bottom line is this, is that he presented a paper to me that he wrote, and it actually gave me the basis for all investments going forward. Because when he heard how I was buying a particular stock, he said, oh, that's the uniqueness principle. Why is it important that you're unique? You got to differentiate yourself from the crowd. You want to be different. You want to be one of the crazy ones. And I say that with fun because everyone thought Einstein was crazy. Everybody thought Steve Jobs was crazy. Everybody thought, that any of the greats that had a dream, were crazier, right? To think that that's a pretty big, hairy goal. My whole comment is that, in my view, and I could be, and this isn't right or wrong, it's just how you feel about it. If you go out there in social media land and you do the same thing that everybody else is doing, what does that say to your audience? I mean, who are you? Are you bringing anything that's unique, or are you just basically selling the same stuff and they're going to buy because they know Allie, or they're going to buy because they happen to know Mimi? I mean, I'm saying I don't think that's the best way to present or brand yourself. I also feel that you got to, and this is something that Allison will do, or this is a lot of energy workers will do this. Put your hand on your chest, get grounded, do your breathing, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Do that about 3 or 4 or 5 times, get really settled, close your eyes, think of the question that you want to be. Who am I? Right? If ER Shred is not connecting to you vibrationally, maybe not the right, this is not the right, the horse to be on. If it's another product, or if it's something like maybe our elixir, if that lights you up and gets you excited, that would be a good place to start. But there is no, I understand there's many people doing it a lot of different ways. But if I want to connect to people and I want them to see me as the expert, and I learned this at Bear Stearns, they told me, okay, you got equities, derivatives, which are options, futures. You have bonds. I know Allison's going to get bored here real quick. I had to choose. I choose equities. Then they said, you just can't choose stocks. What industry do you want to be in? I'm like, well, I don't know. So everything was taken, pharmaceuticals, automotive, you name it. Consumer non-durable durables, consumer durables, every category was taken except for technology stocks. By the way, this is 1986. All the old timers, no one wanted to do technology. I was a young kid on the block. I was literally 24 going on 25. I got technology. They said, okay, Bob, you're going to be the expert in this industry. And then as it evolved, they said technology is too big. Subset, what are you going to focus on? I'm going to focus on digital communications, going from analog to digital, but then I'm going to do wireless digital technology. That was my expertise. So as my wife would say, I niched down. I got very, very, very focused. So you just didn't look at Bob and say technology. Well, do you do computers or you do software? What do you do? No, I did wireless digital technology. Very specific, but because I was specialized in an area, I branded myself as the man. So anybody around the street that wanted to know about Qualcomm or any of those other companies, they knew they had to get a hold of me. That's what made me successful. So with the same concept with our ER Shred, it's simply, I know that if I want to be super successful, the people who do it the best are the ones that are known for a specific thing. They're not necessarily everything to everyone. I know it's a huge world out there. There's a tendency for us to think that if I get that specialized, that I'm not going to have a big enough market. There is a huge market for ER Shred. We aren't even, 25,000 is nothing. But this is something that woke me up. I follow Liver King. I follow Dr. Paul Saladino, who wrote the Carnivore Code. They're on Instagram. I'm trying to learn Instagram like Mimi does this, right? I'm trying to learn Instagram and how do they go out there and show up. Well, they're not only eating meat, but they're eating organs. And they're not eating just organs, they're eating raw organs, testicles, pancreas, heart, raw liver. And they got hundreds of thousands of followers. They literally have created millions of dollars in income because they focus on something that crazy. So when I look at ER Shred, yeah, we're carnivore combined with a detox, with a super shake, with incubated shakes. That's specialized. That is unique. That is different than anything else out there. So for me, it is ER Shred. That's the uniqueness principle. That's why I think it's important. The other aspect, and I know Lenny covers this, and it's called the Shredder's Way. And I know that Heather has a link in here, how shredders share, I think, and there is a link to the Shredder's Way. And what I want to say, and it's on this page, I'm not able to find it real quick. Maybe it's under here. And these are testimonials. Go up to the top, 11-day shred for free, shred stories, 11-day shred support, coaching guides. I'll find it. I'll find out where Heather put it. But Lenny's coaching program, Shredder's Way, he talks about what's important. And that is when you look at the opportunity, you want to look at the management, you look at the product, you look at the marketplace, and then you look at timing. So if you can get a 10 out of 10 in all four areas, you know you have a golden opportunity, a winner. We've got an amazing management, the company. We have an amazing product. Actually, we specialize, not just all of Isogenics, our partner company, but we've specialized and niched down to the ER Shred. That's pretty darn specific. It is unique from anything in Isogenics in that we incubate our shakes and we do an elimination reset using grass-fed beef. We use bone broth on cleanse days with our detox. And finally, the outcome, the results are spectacular, right? That's the uniqueness. That's the product. Who is our market? It's anybody that needs to lose weight, have more energy, better sleep, if they're willing to follow this 11-day protocol. And then they get to choose. Very inviting. Not for everybody. Check it out for 11 days. then you get to decide what you want to do. We don't say this is a sign up for life. We don't tell them from the beginning this is a lifestyle. We don't tell them this is a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day program, or you absolutely must do this. We're not on like Seinfeld, like the soup Nazi, saying do this, don't do that. Because why? Well, over the last 20 years, we've learned that that kind of disciplined way presentation, it works for a short period of time, but eventually even adults act like teenagers and go, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't do it. It's too difficult, too rigid. This is a lot of the genius that went into the messaging of ER Shred. We want to empower you, give up our power, but empower you for you to decide what's right for you. And I can't answer that. Jesse can't. Sean can't. But we got 11 days. Follow the tracks. Then you get to experiment and decide. And then look at the success. Look at the testimonials. Look at the people who are sticking for the first time. Look at the people who are actually getting through a 2-day cleanse and loving it. Nowhere else in isogenics can they say that. My old traditional way of doing it, Allison knows what I'm talking about. It is exhausting carrying people across the finish line. It doesn't mean that the other one doesn't get you results. It's just that I personally identify better with this one. Getting into the actual business part of how this business works. It's outlined here in our doodles. So if I go back to home, I'm going to come down here to Shred for Free, I think. Bingo. Let's talk what happens when you share the shred. It's a 4.5-minute video doodle. Please watch it again, take notes. It's very, very simple. The essence of this business is we have 2 teams. I come in, I'm the CEO of my own center, and I'm going to find 2 partners, and I'm going to put 1 partner on my left side, 1 partner on my right side. Before you say, oh my God, that sounds like a triangle or pyramid, you know what? You're right. But then I will come back and ask you a question. Name me one organization that is not. Church, government, corporation, any entity has a CEO or head honcho. You've got the middle management, and then you've got a lot of the worker bees, et cetera, in a corporate situation. Obviously, the military, general, all the way down to the privates, right? So my view is that when I talk about the business, it's the most simple business. It's called a binary. You've got 2 teams, one on your left, one on your right. The gentleman who's made more money than anybody in isogenics, the #1 income earner, Jimmy the Butcher, talks about the Army, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left. So when he started sharing, he would literally put one on his left. Next person goes on the right, and so on. Back on the left, back on the right. The only thing that I tell my people from the very beginning is that don't separate friends. If they know each other, you don't know if they're going to do the business or not, but put them on the same right leg so that in the event they raise their hands, they don't have like, gee, I really wanted to build the business with Beanie, or I wanted to build the business with Beatrice, but she's not even connected to me anymore. Keep friends together. That's my only suggestion. Finally, this business model, just as my wife said about being unique, is unique to almost any network marketing company out there. There are other companies that are following us. Why? Because this business model is so successful. But for the vast majority of companies, if you've come from this industry, you will know about the things that really are disappointing. #1 in isogenics, if you stay active and you're buying every month, your volume never flushes. It just accumulates in terms of not only what you purchase, but anybody who falls down below you counts the same to infinity. There is no, we get paid in the first 8 or 9, 10 levels. It's on a descending scale. It's none of that. You get the same BV amount from the first person you enroll. For me, that was 2004, to the person I just enrolled today. They count the same to me. The same BV flows up. So that's the beautiful thing about this. It basically fosters teamwork. That makes us unique. It's unique that we don't flush our volume after 30 days. It's very, very unique that we don't have a thing called a breakaway. In a lot of other companies, I signed John Drury up. He's better than I am. He's got a better story than I have. He signs up more people. He rank advances faster than I am. And in our business model, I'm thrilled. You want people to be more successful than you always, because that just ensures your success. In the other companies that have what they refer to as a breakaway, if you have someone rank advance, even though you brought them in, they break away from you. You no longer get paid on them. How crummy is that? You work so hard to get the all-star player, the Hall of Famer, and they pass you up and they're not part of your business center anymore. Pointing it out real quickly, just some things that make us unique. Finally, my goal, and I want you to follow, obviously your why, but I want you to come down here and where are the other doodles? Geez, I apologize. Share, shred for free. I got to get with home 11-day shred support. I'll find them. Anyway, I hope Heather didn't take them down, right? Because she was working on them. She may have taken them down. The doodles will explain the business, and it's you share, they share. If it's not on our page right now, we're going to get it replaced. I want you to write this down. I want you to go to isogenicsbusiness.com. If you haven't been there before, just visit it. You have to use your login credentials like it's in your back office. You can also get there by logging into your back office and click on resources, scroll down to Isogenics Business. You will find a video called You Share, They Share. In the most simplistic form, it's you share with two people. I put someone on my left, I put someone on my right. I support them. I make sure they get the very best ER shred experience. And when they get excited and they say I'm in, you're going to help them put somebody on their left and on their right. So you share and they do the same thing. That gets you to what they refer to as a rank of manager. There's another bonus that you get. But the most important thing is I want you to understand is that's the whole business. You share with two people, and if they want to share with others, you help them do the same. What do I do next? Same thing all over again. I find my next two people. Now, here are the numbers, just so you don't get disappointed. In the last 20 years, the averages are 90% of the people remain as customers, 10% raise their hand and say, I'm going to share. Now, it doesn't mean that the 10% are going to be Jimmy Smith or Peter Greenlaw or Sean Escobar or any of us. That isn't the case. There will be the 1%ers who rise to the top, and you will find those people, but typically what will attract them is they typically have an entrepreneurial mind. They had an amazing result, and then they found a system that was duplicatable, and they light up and they say, oh my God, this is unbelievable. We have all of those components with our ER Shred business model today. It's literally plug and play. I sign somebody up. I send them the shred manual. I either send them to ershred.com or I also put them into our Facebook group called ER Shred. I follow up with them, making certain that they're ready for their first steak day, day one. I use Joan Fernandez's wonderful tiles as a reminder. Here's day one, day two, day three. That's a nice touch. I make sure that my shredders plug into the calls with Jesse, or I'll tag them in posts that maybe it was a post that Sarah made. Maybe it was a post that Tony Trowbridge did today. Oh, they're going to identify with that. Here, Roy, I want you to, I'll tag them at the person. Make sure you watch this video, or I think you would like this. That's how I manage it. The system is simple. The other thing is, if you go back, and I will bring Colin back on, I'm an old timer. We used to get people on the phone. It's very, very hard to do that in this day and age. What's easy is to say, hey, Don, I understand you got your friend, our buddy. Let's say it's, one of our fraternity brothers, wants to come on. Great. Awesome. Why don't you do me a favor? Put us on a three-way text, and then that way I can connect with them. So how I work with my team is I want the person that's most excited and energized to share their story, pique their interest. And then I want them to introduce me and literally let me do the heavy lifting. I will literally, what are you interested in? I'm so excited you're interested in ER Shred. How did you hear about it? Tell me about yourself. What are your goals? What questions can I answer? The goal is that I answer all their questions. Great. Any other questions? Nope. When do you want to get started? Pretty easy, right? Not yet. I got to think about it. Wait. Awesome. Can I put you in our Facebook group? I'd love for you to just kind of kick the tires, check it out. The bottom line is that we're not here to sell or convince anyone. We want to invite. And the best way to do that is with a third person. And here's the most important aspect of the entire business. I did not get this. And because of that, it slowed my progress down significantly. I started a little after Sean did, right? I was part-timing it. Sean was all in. But what Sean did better than I did is he followed his parents and he followed a system. And when his parents said, I want you to do a 3-way call, he did it verbatim. He got them on the phone with another person. Maybe it was Tony, maybe it was his mother, Randy, maybe it was someone else on his team. Even if he knew more, he still handed it off and let the other person do the heavy lifting. The psychological reason I want you to do that is that this is nothing to do about your ability or your ability as a salesperson. I'm the big closer. I can do it all. I can zip my own zipper. Nada. It has everything to do with your newest person. So when your newest person comes in and maybe they don't have sales experience, but they had an amazing experience and their sister wants to do this, they'll think about their own, what happened to me? Well, if I remember correctly, Allison put me on the phone with Colin, and Colin answered all my questions. That was easy. Maybe I can call up Allison or I can call up Colin and see if they'll do the same thing for my sister. You take all the weirdness out of it for them. They don't feel that they have to learn all of this stuff in order to sell it, if you will. And the best thing is they pique interest, get you excited, pass you off to my partner so that he can answer or she can answer the questions. That is the simplicity of the business. If you get good at that 3-way handoff or introduction, this will make you the difference between me, which it took me a while. I finally figured it out about 2010, but the difference between me and a Sean Escobar or Peter Greenlaw and myself. I thought I knew it all from a sales perspective, and I can zip my own zipper and I will sign my people up. I was great at it. You know what I wasn't good at? It didn't duplicate. None of my people shared. They thought Bob knew too much or he understood the product too well or he was too polished. I can't be Bob. I lost my people sharing before they even got started. Do you see what I'm saying? So my best advice is go through ershred.biz. I will make sure these doodles get put back up. They still might be here. I apologize. If they're not, our backup is go to isagenixbusiness.com. Get comfortable with that and understand if they're showing you an example with some of the other products that are not ER Shred, it's the same thing. Just put our ER Shred product in there in place. It explains when you bring people in, one on the left, one on the right, if all three of you are active, you are a consultant. That turns on your pay center. If you help 2 other people do the same thing on your left or right, you're considered a manager. It'll break down levels in terms of manager, director, executive. Your goal is to find 10 people that want to share this with you as a business. You put 5 on the left side, 5 on the right side. They call you an executive. That opens up other bonus pools for you. That's as high as you can get in this company in terms of opening up the money. What it really comes down to is how well do you elevate, support, and celebrate your people with not only their results, but also once they start to share, it's just like anything else. You want to recognize them for doing good. And if you are really good like Sean is, Sean and Randy Escobar, Tony Escobar, some of the most empathetic, nice, the nicest people I've ever met. They are as successful as they are, probably for that number one reason. Everybody likes them. Why? Because they have an amazing ability to recognize and elevate others in all situations. You look wonderful. Oh my God, what a wonderful smile. You're always so happy. It's so good to see you. They compliment, they're not weird about it, but they do it in an authentic, from the heart, conversational manner that makes everybody feel good about them. So when I had this opportunity, and I'll end it with this, presented to me, Sean and I talked for many years about what wasn't right with the way we used to do things. How can we bring back the old legacy, the old culture? How can we create a safe system? Our company's going in so many different directions. Our entire organization's confused. And if you have a confused mind, what does that lead to? It's either paralysis, deer in headlights, or chaos, right? You don't do anything. So when Shred, when Sean had his health journey and he did that grass-fed beef elimination diet, it healed his gut so that he could again, he tried the incubated shakes. For the first time, he had an amazing, oh my God, I can actually tolerate it. I feel better than I ever did before. Then he combined it with our detox. Bingo, we had the Shred. He came up with the name Shred. I asked him, I said, right away, let's trademark this thing. He trademarked it. Let's put it together. Let's see if we build it, the right people will show up because the protocol is strong. 2 years in, everything's built for you. This is the single best investment opportunity I've seen in my lifetime. There's no barrier of entry. I think it's $29 to turn on your site so that you can get paid. You eat, you're eating your inventory. I don't have to carry inventory for others. I don't have to worry about shipping. I don't have to worry about all collecting taxes, all the other aspects that come into running a business. Low barrier of entry. I have a result that's proven and it's science-backed. We will have very shortly the latest peer-reviewed clinical study that'll be published anytime soon, but when it is, we can talk about it. And that is real science. That is what this is based on. Very, very, very few companies have that. And almost no company in the network marketing industry has clinical peer-reviewed science. So you can be proud and confident to present this to a doctor, to a chiropractor, if that's, or your health professional, anybody, you can have confidence in that this is the real deal. So for me, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to be active in the community. I want to be a better voice in my community. So I will look for people who are asking the right questions. And I'll interject when appropriate and bring up the Shred. I'll wear my Shred gear. What's that? When someone said, you look like a teenager, how in the heck did that happen? That's not fair. I said, it's Shred. She didn't ask a whole lot more other than she goes, God, that's a lot of meat. I go, I know, isn't it great? Don't you get tired of eating a lot of meat? And I'm like, heck, absolutely not. Why? Because I feel the best. We will go over this again, but again, just to recap, it starts with your story. Please go to ershred.biz, check out all the tools we have there. Please go to isogenicsbusiness.com, check out You Share, They Share. That is the simplicity of the story. I will do another call if people want to get into some more of the mathematics of the business model. I can talk about that. We can talk about what it looks like if you max out, what is unlimited income, why is that? And I will post in the Shredders Unite. This is how cool this business is. I was interviewed by Peter Greenlaw in 2009. It was on a national podcast with Lenny Evans and Udana Power. And I talked about isogenics as a business opportunity. That was the call. That podcast, outside of the numbers, is still good today. For those that are more numbers oriented and definitely left brained, I would highly recommend listen to the podcast. Maybe that will get you excited. I know Natasha and Rick Whedon. I did that podcast 2009. They use that same podcast today to bring in business people. And the funny thing is that maybe because I'm embarrassed about it, I don't know why, I don't even use that podcast to market myself. Maybe I should. Anyway, we've got the tools. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Start with writing down your why. Watch that video. Think about your goals and what is it that you want to achieve. And then please use my wife's teachings or anyone else when we talk about getting grounded, getting centered, doing the breath work, getting quiet, and visualize what it is I want to become. And then you can own that. But this, if you choose for it to be just getting your products paid for, or if you want to be Sean Escobar or Peter Greenlaw and you want to make it your full-time lifestyle, you can actually create your life by design. And proof in the pudding is my good friend Colin Greenlaw, who lives in Costa Rica, does this business successfully, and he surfs every day and lives on the beach. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that if you're a surfer, at least. Anyway, with that, anybody have any questions? Allison, anything? There's a wrap. Nada.
Thanks, Bob.
Excellent. Don, thank you so much. Good luck, guys. Stay in the group and have a happy Father's Day weekend. I forgot about that. It's Father's Day. Congrats to all the fathers. Congrats to all of our cleansers. And have a wonderful weekend. And we will be back with you all on Tuesday with Jesse. For those that are on our call tonight, Laura Cooley, Sarah, Allison, Don, Beatrice, Mimi was here. Do me a favor. I'm volunteering you guys to go first. And that is, I'd love to see you share your testimonial in the ER Shred page. Just do a live if you're ready. Just come on and say, this is what ER Shred did for me. This was my before. Here's what ER Shred did. Here's where I am today. And just share your testimonial. Why? Because this is what draws people. This is how we make connection. And it's not going to be your story that brings them in. They know you too well, typically. It's usually someone else's testimonial that lights them up. And I could say that is probably the case for the majority of people who have signed up. And I have to honor our group. If it wasn't for ER Shred, I don't think they would be doing this. So thank you all. All right, guys. Happy Thursday.
Good night.
Love you all.
Bye.
Good night. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Where's my lead?